this whole thing with DeAndre Hopkins is like, DeAndre keeps saying things and like, I want to play for a guy who sounds a lot like Josh Allen. Is there any way that DeAndre Hopkins winds up in a Bills uniform?
I don't think it's possible, just from a financial standpoint, right? You've already rearranged the contracts all the way you can to have the people you have on your roster right now. You're relying legitimately, potentially on third and fourth round draft picks to contribute this year if things are going to be solid. How do you bring DeAndre Hopkins here, right? Are you going to trade Ed Oliver? I mean, his contract isn't worth that much for what's coming in. And here's the other question. Do you want DeAndre Hopkins right now? Yeah. Age is an issue. The situations he's been through with other teams is an issue. The fact that he has flip-flopped 3 different times, agent says he wants a trade, he shows up at the Arizona facility, goes, no, I never said that out loud, and then does an interview where he names Josh Allen as the #1 quarterback he would want to play with this year. I don't know what's going on with this guy. It's making me nervous.
Well, it's making me nervous because it's kind of like this football flirting. When did we start doing this whole sort of, this guy wants to be here?
Very
this guy wants
NBA-ish.
to be. Well, it is, but sometimes it results in actual change in the NBA. This comes from this Von Miller thing, and it's just a bizarre sort of world where we're trying to create the narrative to get guys to come here. Meanwhile, you've got a wide receiving core that's pretty damn solid. I mean, I don't know why you would mess with that unless you're planning on trading somebody big back.
Look, I agree with you. And like the rumors with Stefan Diggs not being at minicamp this week again, even though he never really shows up to this stuff anyway, is, well, he's positioning himself out of town to do a 1-for-1 swap, which would be absolutely insane and wouldn't work financially. But look, never put anything past Brandon B. To say it's impossible is a dumb thing to say. But I cannot see a way in which it works and for either team.
How do you feel if you're Kyler Murray? I mean, you've got your wide receiver, and they say, well, we could bring him back, but he's done everything but just burn that bridge and make it impossible to return.
Kyler Murray's got a lot of work to do to not only convince the organization and the fan base to believe in him again, he's going to need a lot of wins very early on in the NFL
that's
season.
Not going to happen.
Well, I mean, that's up to Kyler Murray now. This is what happens when you ask for the check, you get the check, and you get the leadership bill. The leadership bill here is, you've got all these guys basically saying, I want out of here. Now, I get that they don't want to restructure, and you can build a roster pretty quickly in the NFL. It takes about a year, 2 years, if you get the right guys in there. But I don't know. Arizona's got a lot of work to do, and Kyler Murray is the #1 reason why people are questioning what they're going to be able to do this year.
And to some of the things you'd said before, you have to be careful bringing a potential malcontent into your roster. I mean, Diggs had problems in Minnesota. He wasn't a great teammate in Minnesota, and Hopkins isn't behaving that way right now.
He's been a great teammate for the last 3 years until just now.
Exactly. Like, you're making the argument as to why to bring in DeAndre Hopkins, right? You don't know what a situation is inside a locker room and all that stuff. I would think that with what the Bills have built, I always thought culture was a stupid thing. And then I watch what happened in Buffalo, and I'm watching what's happening with Miami Heat and all these things, right? I would trust the locker room to be able to hold everything together if things were to go south. That being said, why make things harder on yourself if you don't have to?
Culture is an interesting thing to do a whole show on culture. It's like, did the culture precede the winning, or did the winning produce the culture?
Well, but in Buffalo, we know for a fact, we watched it happen. The culture preceded the winning. You had a guy in McDermott clapping his hands as loud as he could, saying, trust the process. And I personally laughed at him the entire time, being the jaded Bills fan that had wandered through the wilderness for 17 years. Here we are now. You can't argue with results.
Trust the process. And they're saying that Philadelphia 76ers right now. Trust the process. And then